ask in terms of the meet and greet and how that is going to work as we move forward in the capstone. As you know, the meet and greet is coming up. And so let's talk about the process. So first of all, it is really important to prepare. I want you to review the project catalog. I want you to look at past capstones, maybe look at past symposia. I want you to do the capstone interest poll and indicate at least your top 5 internships in order of preference using the text box entry, and be sure to indicate the title of the project as well as the host organization if they're in the catalog. If they're outside of the catalog, I want you to describe them to me as well. That will help me to prepare you. All right, so of course, though, the most important piece of this is reviewing the project catalog. That's going to be your best way to get familiar with the projects that are represented at the meet and greet. The day of the meet and greet, there are a series of steps that you probably should follow in order to have a successful time. First thing to do is to make sure that you complete the assignment, which is to minimally upload 2 questions for each of your top 5 internships. Now, honestly, I think 2 questions for each of your top 5 is pretty much the bare minimum that you can and should do. That's part of the assignment, and I certainly want to incentivize you to do that part. But honestly, I would recommend 1, you should probably prepare many more questions for your top 5 if you really want to show that you are enthusiastic and interested. Secondly, you probably want to prepare questions for more than 5 internships. For one thing, I will let you apply for more than 5 internships, but also as part of the extra credit, if you ask questions of other site supervisors outside of your top 5, there's an opportunity to earn at least a couple of extra credit points. So there's lots of incentives for you to do that. It is important for you to arrive early, although the meet and greet will start at 1 p.m. If you arrive up to 10 minutes early, that'll give you and me an opportunity to get prepared. I can give you a site map so you know what breakout rooms each supervisor is in, and we can talk about some last minute details. Make sure you have your questions with you and available in your, at your desktop so that you can refer to those questions as you entertain the site supervisors. In Zoom, you should probably update your name and possibly your pronouns as you'd like them to appear. If there's any distinction or differences that you'd like to include. You can also potentially find a wingman. I put that in parentheses because it tends to be something more important for an in-person internship fair than an online one. But traveling from breakout room to breakout room with one other person might help to ease some of your fears and make you feel more comfortable. So when you get into the breakout room, it's really important to introduce yourself to the site supervisors and get your questions answered. If the site supervisor isn't there, then you should probably make contact via email either before or after the meet and greet, the day of the meet and greet. I certainly want you to. I certainly encourage you to learn about other organizations, and that's why I offer the extra credit, right? Because I think there are lots of sleeper opportunities that you might not necessarily consider until you meet the supervisor and learn a little bit more about the project. And a really high percentage of our students find their preferred internships that way. They maybe don't look that good on paper in the catalog, but when you speak with the supervisor, they really shine. The other thing I will say about the meet and greet, and this is really important, in the breakout rooms, it is very important that we move briskly through the process. Yes, you want to go into a breakout room of your top 5 internships. You want to impress them. You want to get your questions answered. But then it's time to move on because others also want to talk to these people. And we want to make sure that everybody in the class has an opportunity to speak with the supervisors they want to speak with, and that you have an opportunity to speak with a wide variety of supervisors. So get in there, get your questions answered, and then move on to other supervisors. If you want to, then I would say circle back to your top 5 just to say hello to them again, maybe ask them an additional question. Frankly, it's a good strategy because it will demonstrate to those supervisors that you really are interested and that you continue to think about their projects. It might help them to remember who you are in more detail as well. But if we move quickly and we don't hog the internship supervisors, then there's a better chance of us all having a really good experience, particularly since this isn't an extremely long opportunity. It's only, as you know, about an hour and 20 minutes. All right. After the meet and greet, it's important that you follow up. First thing to do is to take the information that you gleaned from the meet and greet, finalize your cover letters and your resumes, and make sure that you are prepared to submit your applications. Email your application materials to the site supervisors. Okay, it's really important that when it's time to submit these things, that you know who to submit them to. The internship supervisors are listed in the catalog. Email them directly. And as I said, at least your top 5 internship choices. I'll let you know how many additional internships I will allow you to submit applications for. When you submit these, as I said already, you're attaching your resume and cover letter and other materials as PDFs. The body of the email needs to be short and sweet and to the point. Let them know who you are, which internship you're applying for, any other little pertinent details. Be gracious, thank folks who you talk to at the meet and greet, and leave it at that. So there is a process though. You're going to send them this materials directly via email. Then you're going to upload one representative cover letter and resume to Canvas. Not every single application, just one resume and one cover letter that you prepared as part of this process so I can give you some additional feedback. The next step is to complete the capstone application ranking survey, which I'll show you in a minute. And then after that, you can move on to completing the meet and greet extra credit assignment. The capstone application ranking survey is the best way for me to gauge what your ranking of the projects is at the time you submit the applications. Sure, you've already let me know what your interests are, but after the meet and greet, that interest might change. And so when you submit your applications, the only way for me to know whom you submitted internship applications to and what your ranking is by completing this survey. It is very important that every single person in the class complete this application ranking survey, whether you already have an internship or whether you are choosing one out of the catalog. Every single person in the class must complete an application ranking survey. And this is what it looks like. You're just going to use the drop-down menus to select the internship that you have applied for and the rank from first choice all the way through the 5th choice and beyond. And if they're outside the catalog, then there is a place for you to include that information at the end of the survey. So let's talk about what you're going to do at the meet and greet, though, because I think that's really where the rubber meets the road. Obviously, we're doing this over Zoom, and so there are both benefits and challenges to doing that. In terms of benefits, it will allow you to set up your workstation so that you have reference material that you can draw on. You can be very comfortable in your own space, and that can be a very positive thing. But there is a very big difference between communicating with others via Zoom and communicating with others online. things that I would particularly pay attention to, obviously you want to watch your manners and your mannerisms to make sure that you're not behaving in a way that is showing any particular tics or anything like that, and that you're doing all the things that that the grown-ups in your life have always told you you need to do. Stand up straight, don't fidget, that sort of thing. But also, because we're online, you want to make sure that the space that you're operating in is professional, or at least that it's allowing you to put your best foot forward. So make sure that anything in the background is not inappropriate. You want to make sure that you find a nice quiet space where you aren't going to be interrupted by your roommates, your dogs, your family. You're going to want to make sure that you have good lighting so that you appear appropriately on video. And you want to make sure that you have good sound quality. So make sure that you have a suitable microphone or headset or whatever, so that you can be heard well. And I would imagine that it's a good idea to test this all out in advance. So those are all things to be thinking about. I would also encourage you to keep a glass of water handy in case you get, dry mouth and you don't want to start coughing while you're talking to the supervisors. It used to be that I would say handshakes are a critical part of these interactions. Obviously, we're not using handshakes anymore, but maintaining good eye contact is important. So consider where you are going to be looking as you are interacting with people via Zoom. Ideally, you're going to be looking towards the camera. And so making sure that Zoom is open where the camera is really important, so that you can be looking at people and making eye contact. You want to be clear and engaging when you speak. You want to make sure that you can be heard well. You want to be friendly and conversational, have a positive attitude. Make sure that you are listening as well as speaking. You want to stay on topic. And I think really focusing on the relationships you're trying to build is an important part of this. It is definitely a good idea to take notes, but I really do want you to be moving between the breakout rooms quickly and focusing on the professional aspect of this. This isn't necessarily a social event to be chit-chatting with your classmates. It's really to be interacting with these site partners. All right, so as I said, ready your workstation, prep your space, have a way to take notes, have water ready, keep an open mind. This is your best chance to interact with a lot of potential future employers and internship supervisors. There is generally a dress code. It's not my job to tell you how to dress, but it is my job to inform you of what the norms are for these sorts of events. And business casual is the norm. And as I said before, and I'll say it again, really the best part of this is it's an opportunity for you to be evaluated on more than just your resume. So interpersonal skills, communication skills, workplace appropriate social skills are critical. So make sure that you are presenting yourself in a way that is going to be professional and putting your best foot forward. And I know I said business casual, and to a lot of people, business casual seems like a relatively foreign term, or at least very vague. But here are some examples of what business professional and business casual tend to look like. Granted, these are some interesting examples, maybe a little bit dated. That green shirt is kind of atrocious, but this is the general idea of what business casual might look like. Now, the best part about doing a meet and greet online is that you really only have to worry about being business casual from the waist up. Hey, you can wear your pajamas if you want to, but the upper half of your body, your torso that's being shown on camera, should be business casual. What will you say? what will you say to these people when you go into the breakout room? I think it is worth considering because, you might be a little nervous, you might be a little flustered. And in some cases, the supervisors may just sort of take control and start asking you questions, but you really should be prepared. And so I do think it's a good idea to prepare just a brief introduction of yourself so that you can get this conversation started. Think of it as sort of like a little networking icebreaker. Who you are, why you're interested in the position, what you feel like you have to bring. That's a good place to start. It is, as I said, really important to prepare questions in advance. Supervisors want people who are proactive. So you want to make yourself stand out with smart questions. You certainly don't want to ask questions that are easily found in the catalog, because of course, if you didn't read the catalog description, that's not really showing them that you are a thoughtful individual who's paying attention. It's also not necessarily appropriate to ask about salary and benefits, because that's really not what these internships are about, right? I think I've already mentioned that they are, for the most part, if not almost all, unpaid. So things that you should ask about are additional tidbits of information that demonstrate you've been doing your homework. So show what you know, find stuff on their websites, look into the supervisors on LinkedIn, try to learn as much as you can about your preferred internship so you can demonstrate that you've done your homework. As I said, you really do want to make a good first impression. So think about that short introduction, your little intro that you're going to do, 20 to 30 seconds probably. You really do want to think about a dialogue that's going to fit your unique situation, focus on your strengths, your personal narrative, make sure that it's natural and conversational. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to ask in class before the meet and greet, or you can certainly email me as well, and I'm sure I can answer your questions. This is, it is a class assignment. It's a professional development opportunity, but it's more than that, because I think it really can be a lot of fun and a great way for you to get comfortable with these sorts of activities. So please try to have a good time and really kind of push the boundaries of your comfort zone. And I think it can be a very rewarding experience. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out. I'm happy to answer those questions for you. All right, bye-bye.